Dude got killed right here.
Man.
He was laying right there on the grass. This dude was doing some weird stuff and came on the block, and some dudes found him and they gunned him down. He just happened to be right here when he got gunned down. But they missed the first one, they went in the house.
Yeah.
And everybody got missed in the house, but he got right here. And we was all standing right here, and he was dead right there.
Y'all walking down the street, he done got shot, and you right there with him. It's like a magnet, it brings you to each other. We done shared things with each other that no regular, normal human being done went through. Death every day.
Right.
You know, every day. You don't know if you're going to take off your own shoes.
Right.
You're going to be in a morgue, you're going to be in prison for life. You never know.
Because I never look at what an individual is doing, I always look at what they're running from. As a young man, I had no idea I had low self-esteem until I started doing the classes at Second Call, and I realized that when I would wake up every day and put my gear on, my outfit to battle, what I didn't realize was that I wanted to commit suicide. I just didn't want to do it myself.
Second Call started in 2006 as a violence reduction agency. We want to reduce violence in the community. Tonight, what we had here at Second Call is our life skill class, our dysfunctional family life skill class, where individuals come and say they're looking for a career, they want a job, however, they don't have the life skills to keep it.
My name is John, and I feel excellent that I ain't dead in jail. Have I been to prison? Absolutely. I'm also a union electrician. I'm in my 21st year of doing this, but more importantly, how do I empower other individuals to get into the trades? And so at Second Call, what we do is we save lives. Young fella, what's your name?
My name's Charles.
How you feel, champ?
I feel excellent.
Why you feel excellent, brother?
I'm alive, free, paying taxes, I'm good.
Yes, sir. You ever not been free?
Yes, sir. Once.
How much time you do, brother?
In 27 years.
27 years. What do you do now?
Union electrician.
Union electrician. Man. Like that. How you get that, brother?
Right here, Second Call.
Right here, Second Call. So
For me, looking back, I know that I am here for a purpose. Purpose that maybe I don't understand right now, but I know that the Creator has put me here for a greater purpose. I was in prison for 27 years. I went to jail for a first-degree gang-related homicide. And I often ask myself, when I was in prison, how can I go from the young child that my mother loved to an individual who was willing to take a life? And not only willing to take a life, but sought out individuals to a hurt.
It was a bunch of people in the room. They were talking about feelings, emotions, and their past, different experiences that they had had in life. And myself, I was like, oh man, this isn't for me. This is crazy. You know what the hell is going on here? Maybe about, 2 or 3 months after my initial meeting was a breakthrough for me, where somebody was talking about not having a father in their life. And 30 minutes later, I'm still spewing out my whole life story, and I'm like, oh man, I messed up and started talking. And after that, man, they couldn't shut me up.
did you graduate high school?
Yes.
You passed algebra with a C or better?
Yes, sir.
Are you drug free?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. You got a valid driver's license?
Yes, sir.
Social security card?
Absolutely.
One of the first rules is we speak in the first person I. To do that, that's empowering, because I don't want to tell anybody what they should be doing. I won't say to him, hey, you need to stop selling drugs, you need to quit gangbang, you need to quit. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, hey, young man, for me, when I was selling drugs and I was gangbang, I ended up in the penitentiary. And for me, I understood that I was destroying my community.
One important thing about Second Call, it will not allow you to give advice or to talk in third person. Everything that you say and everything that you do is a reflection on yourself and what you feel within yourself. So if a question is posed to you, it's how you feel and how you interpret what's being said.
Big John had turned around the lives of a lot of disadvantaged people, and one of the things that he was big on was recruiting for Local 11. And sure enough, when I showed up, it turned out to be a blessing. He makes sure that you have your math, your tutoring. If you don't have your GED, he helps you get that. But most importantly, one of the things that I've been able to get away from him is he gives you the skills to be able to function on a job site.
Anybody getting out of prison, first of all, they've got to have some kind of support system, or it's geared for failure. It's like jumping off a merry-go-round and trying to land on your feet. For somebody that's done, 20 years, 30 years, the world has changed completely. It's like stepping out onto the moon.
Young fella next, so what's your name, brother?
Jay.
How you feel, Jay?
Feeling good.
Why you feel good, brother?
Because I'm fresh out and I'm doing something new.
Now, when you say fresh out, how many days or how many months, how many hours?
Like 3 weeks.
3 weeks out?
Yeah.
How long you do?
5 years.
Oh man, welcome on, brother. How'd you hear about us?
Through a friend right here.
Oh, okay. All right, so what do you want to do?
Electrician.
You want to do electrician?
Yeah.
Did you graduate high school?
Yeah.
Did you pass algebra with a C or better?
Yes.
You got a valid driver's license?
No.
Okay, you gotta get your driver's license.
I'm gonna get that.
And you have a birth certificate and social security card.
Yes.
Are you drug free?
Yeah, kind of.
Hey champ, I've been doing this for a long time. And I can tell you right now, you ain't ready for no drug test.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Well, the beauty about this is that by you telling the truth, you have an opportunity to get ready. I cannot let a $10 bag of weed stop me from making 100,000. So if it's more important to you to smoke weed than to make that kind of money and have a pension and have health care and have benefits and live a life of production, then by all means, smoke on. But in this game right here, I'm gonna give you the facts, champ. It's drug free.
I just got out 100 days ago. I did 38 years and 4 months in prison. I went in when I was 16. I'm 55, I'll be 56 in a minute. Within the last 100 days, I just hit the ground running. Went to a ETI one day and I seen a black gentleman struggling at his car trying to get his stuff out. And I went over there to give him a hand. An hour later, it just so happens that it was Shamori Davis that walked in, and when he came in and he looked down at me and he goes, "Small world." So it's, and I got that from somebody that told me everything that's good that happened to him happened as a result of helping people.
So I attended a class called Second Call, which does life skills, and they empower the community through teaching life skills, domestic violence, and things like that. They introduced me to the opportunity to become an apprentice in the IBEW Local 11. Once I was given that opportunity, I didn't look back. That was what I was going to do to provide for my family, and that was what I was going to do to afford myself a good future. I needed to learn how, one, to communicate effectively, number two, how to get up, be on time, how to go to work every single day for the next 30 years. Number three, how to not take things personally.
Right now we're having a safe and sober campaign. Today we've given away over 50,000 bottles of water. Don't know exactly how many lives have been saved, but we know we have saved some lives.
At the age of 12, I got involved in gangs. As a result, I ended up in prison when I was 16. And I did 23 and a half years. And I got out when I was 40. So that's why I had no job skills. I was still living at home when I got arrested at 16. And Big John and Second Call pushed me in the right direction. I got into Second Call and got a career instead of just a job. Something that's gonna take care of me for the rest of my life. They'll take care of my family.
I feel I'm a good example for people from my community. I'm a high school dropout, but now I'm set to make 6 figures if I want to. For me, there would be no union without the Second Call. That's my wolfpack, that's my family. They believed in me, gave me some real good life skills, how to present myself and how to be an asset to myself as well as to the IBEW.
At first I was just like, nah, I don't really like it too much, but they touched on a certain topic, it hit home. The main one that they talked about was being responsible. That was like the main one. You know, I made a lot of choices that was irresponsible. I didn't care about other people's feelings. I didn't care about who toes I stepped on in the process, or, you know what I'm saying, I just really didn't care. It was all about me, I was selfish. Dysfunction, that's another one that hit home. I didn't know that living where I lived at, we have bars on the windows. I went on the other side of La Brea and I thought those people were crazy because I'm like, damn, they don't have bars on their windows. Someone's gonna break in their home. But then as I, you know what I'm saying, started to mature within the class, you know what I'm saying, I started to see like, damn, that was my dysfunction because I thought that was okay.
This is my first time being in the Jordan Downs. I grew up on 53rd and Central. I've never been over here, but I will take a chance and come somewhere where I ain't never been so I can give to you the information I know that's gonna help add and multiply in your life. Complacency is the ultimate goal killer. Complacency will kill growth. So those who don't mind getting up at 10 o'clock in the daytime and living in their house with their mothers and all that old weird shit right there, you might as well go get a shovel, dig it, and go lay in that ditch.
I think one of the things that John has is the ability to bring humor to situations that are normally very emotional. So when we start talking about emotional situations, you know, normal person's looking for an out, like they really don't want to deal with it. So we're talking about emotional situations, but John makes it humorous and it makes it easier to talk about because we're going to talk about it, laugh about it, and if I keep talking and laughing about it, it no longer has power over me.
I went to prison for 24 years. I was in all of them: San Quentin, Pelican Bay, Old Folsom, Tehachapi, Corcoran, Lancaster. I couldn't find jobs, so he told me to come down there and work with him, and he'll help me find something. So that's how I got on it, came to Second Call. It's about the second best thing ever happened to me besides my family. In IBEW Local 11, they don't care what color you is. If you need help, you're gonna get help. Just like at my job, if somebody gets sick or get hurt, they ask everybody, can you donate something? I'm at peace. I ask my victim family to forgive me. I ask God to forgive me. I was walking with my little homeboys because they just got jumped on, so I was walking home to go get my pistol. While them waiting on me, the police pulled us over and drew down on us, and they waiting on me. I didn't have nothing on me, so all they were going to do was pat me down, but they waiting on me. Cars came by and shot my homeboy, then they shot me and shot some other kids right there on Central. I grew up around a violence, so what y'all say is not normal, it was normal to us.
That's what our values were, and we passed them down, generation after generation in the street. Now, up in Second Call on Thursday night, you let them know, no, that wasn't normal thinking. Not just youngsters. We're not just reaching out to youngsters, but it's 30, 40, 50-year-olds that still don't understand that this a dysfunctional lifestyle, you know?
We don't try to help you get guys no jobs when you come to Second Call or any of that. We try to get you a career.
You can take the easy road or you can take the hard road. The easy road is the stuff we was doing, messing up and all this stuff. Or you can take the hard work, go to school, get your job, listen to people that's going to help you. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me.
Do you feel yourself becoming attentive to who's...
Absolutely.
Normal reaction.
Absolutely. It's normal.
Trust,
normal.
Trust no living soul and be careful of the dead.
Right.
It's just natural. It's a natural behavior to watch everything around me.
When you look at your hands now, what do you see?
Oh, these was dangerous at one time.
Yeah.
Now they put in work doing something else, productive work.
Being in the union, it's not just a job that we go to every day, it's a lifestyle that we must live in order to be successful at our jobs, with our families, and with our peers. So it's a lifestyle that we have to live. It's not just something that we do, it's who we are. You have work at 5 o'clock in the morning, there is no hanging out. Sacrifices must be made to be able to be successful in this trade, and if those sacrifices aren't made, it just won't happen. You won't make it.
Second Call is a great program because it helped me deal with my inner weaknesses. It taught me how to communicate. Sometimes I have the tendency when someone will say something, take offense, or have some type of misunderstanding and not be able to really properly handle the situation. And it's made me grow as a person. So it not only helped me get in the industry, but it helps me stay in the industry.
Because I realized a lot of people have a phobia of math. It's a language like anything else. I started seeing guys that I knew came from either the same community that I came from or similar communities, and it was like, how do we give these guys the opportunity to have atonement, and now that they've paid their debt to society, to get into a career where they can have a livable wage, and a career where they can take care of their family, their kids, their grandkids, and give back to the community. I saw a place for me as, okay, I can help guys with math, I can help guys with their study skills, and that was a key place that I saw for me. I do a lot of the tutoring for the apprentices.
The ETI and Homeboy Industries teamed up together, and they're making a program to get young individuals ready for the entrance math test that the IBEW requires everyone to take.
You know, I took algebra, I think in 7th, 8th grade, and that was unheard of back then. In math, it was absolute. Either you were right or wrong. I knew that whatever answer I came up with, it wouldn't be any gray areas. Either I was right or wrong. So for me, that stood out, and that intrigued me, to either be right or wrong and nobody can misinterpret or redefine what I was doing. So.
And there was some comfort in that, in math?
Yeah, it was a lot of comfort in math.
Now, I've been working with Charles, probably the first time was 2 years ago. And myself, I show up half hour, 45 minutes before we work. And Charles was there before me every day. Knowing Charles' story and where he was and where he is now is amazing. He's going to be a great journeyman wireman. and I'm honored to have him working for me.
Ask yourself the question, will this injure me or others? The answer is yes, there is no longer a problem, but a crisis that requires an immediate response before it escalates into an emergency.
I was in prison for 27 years, but before that I was in a mental prison. Majority of my young adult life. I lost my mother when I was 8 years old, 9 years old. I had issues I had a family that loved and supported me. But for me, I didn't understand that the woman who protected me and loved me was gone and everybody else had their mother. So I had a lot of issues as far as dealing with that and where I belonged. It was the brotherhood. For me, being in the gang, the brotherhood, being accepted, even with all my flaws. At the time, I was dealing with a lot of people who were dysfunctional, just like I was, and we band together. And no matter what I did, right, wrong, or indifferent, they were there for me.
So at the end of the day, individuals who used to pick up guns and triple beams and AK-47s and things of that nature are now picking up tape measures, duct, drywall, and conduit. But what makes Second Call different is that we're entrenched in the community because we come from the community.
Drugs, alcohol, gangs. I caught a murder at the age of 18 and I did 23 years in prison. I was a lifer. I paroled 6 months ago. But along the process, it was a learning process. It's always a learning process, but I learned that old habits have to be addressed, have to be issued, through programs such as Second Call, to bring me in awareness, because without an awareness, I'm going to commit the same things I did before, So I'm humbled to be a part of these programs that are looking to help me. As soon as you walk in the door, Second Call, all race, any preconceived notions we have of somebody else are left at the door.
I was talking about how today I was asked why I was going from Calabasas, where I was working, which is a predominantly white environment, to here to Second Call. What I was explaining here to the group was it's a type of spiritual healing in the sense that for 38 years, blacks and Mexicans in prison, I was taught to hate one another. But since I've been out of prison for the last 8 months, it's been nothing but black people that have helped me along my way in terms of getting into the union. Shamori Davis, Eric Brown, Big John Harrell. It's changed perception as well as eroded a lot of the prejudices that I had.
Spirituality is actually a higher plane of thinking. You know what I mean? That's spirituality. So if you want to call it God, you call it whatever. We have been such takers for so long. Do you understand? Such takers. And until you become a giver, you don't have a chance.
You come out of prison feeling like I just did 38 years, I'm the victim here, the system wronged me, I never should have been in prison, I never should have did 15 years in the hole. I think that if you get over that and you start to recognize that I was in solitary because I was stabbing people. I was in solitary because I was a bad person. I was in prison because I did wrong. I murdered somebody in gang violence. I think that once you admit those things, you start to realize that you no longer are a victim, but in fact, you were a predator. And that you have to atone for that at some point. And a good person realizes that the very act of atonement is the things you do daily.
The Second Call meetings is like a family. As Big John explains it, it's the wolf pack. You either eat together or you try to survive alone, which you won't survive alone. So the wolf pack sticks together and we live together and we stay together. We fight for what we have, we fight to keep what we have, and we stay together and we stick together, and that's the way we eat together.
Someone said they're a part of the wolf pack. They embody all the things that have to do with the good side of character. The good side of being my brothers and sisters' keeper, the good side of I want to see my brother do better no matter what culture, race, or sexuality they are part of the wolf pack, and we all as one move as a pack with the one common goal of saving lives. The church that I attend as a member, Abundant Life Christian Church, Pastor John E. Tunsil IV was the catalyst for Second Call to start classes on Thursdays 8 years ago, and it's just been a blessing ever since.
I come because I need refueling. It's always something that I hear in the meetings that I always say, well, I can utilize that in my life. And people come in and they seem to just speak and just talk. To me, that's amazing.
Once I was able to really start reflecting and getting in with myself, I noticed that the anger was the first thing to go. Once the anger went, I was able to interact with people differently. The way they responded to me allowed me to respond with them or interact with them differently. And the level of depth in my relationship started changing. You know, people weren't just usable items to me or, you know, tools and tokens. You know, they're actually people.
Right now, as we speak, I'm trying to identify a dead body that's on 30th and Crenshaw. So as we speak, as we guys are in this room right here, someone was killed tonight, and they say he's from this community, and it just makes me think, why wasn't that situation talked out?
Right.
Why is this guy laying dead, and why are people trying to find his family at 26 years old? But I can't have a rational conversation with an irrational thinking person. I can't have a healthy relationship with an unhealthy person.
How you feel?
Man, I'm feeling like a champ.
Why you feel like a champion?
Well, because I finally passed my state certification second time around.
For what trade?
Electric.
What? All right. So you say you passed it the second time around. What happened the first time?
First time around, I took it for granted. I missed it by 1 point. It broke my heart.
Broke your heart, brother.
But I went down to ETI.
Yes, sir.
Took the preparation course.
Yes, sir.
Went in there, and those answers jumped out to me.
How'd all that happen to you, brother? How all that happened for you, brother?
It happened for me here in second call.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. The community I destroyed is now the community I'm building. And I'm building it through saving lives with the lessons I've learned at the IBEW. And so when I say saving lives, meaning that instead of young men and women picking up guns or things of that nature, now they're picking up tape measures.
I see myself going through the same changes that Malcolm X did when I got to prison. And then I started opening up the doors. I started dealing with whites. I started dealing with Mexicans. I started seeing that we all in the same boat. You know, we all in the same boat. We all dealing with the same thing. We dealing with dysfunctional thinking. We're dealing with depression. We're dealing with anger. We're dealing with some type of traumatic experience that happened early on in our lives.
Does anybody got problems? Well, what kind of problems you got?
When I first got out, I was living in a transitional housing on 6th Street, and I was right across the street from MacArthur Park. I would have to take 2 hours on the bus just to get to this job, low-paying job. I actually had 3 individuals that were drinking and smoking weed flicking my ear, and they were laughing. And every time I turned around, I thought maybe it was a fly. They would sit there, and then they would stare at the wall, and then I would turn back around, and they'd start laughing. And everybody in the bus is looking at me, and I realized that that was actually my first test of if I've changed, because it's one thing to not react when you're confined in prison and you know the consequences are immediate. It's another when you know now there's no restraint. That's when I realized it was one of them moments, like they talk about it was the now and then moment, like what are you gonna do? And I realized, you know, it was either now it was gonna change or it was never gonna happen. Eventually I just looked at them and gave them a shrug, like, come on. And they lost interest. And I really, like I said, I really believe that that was the first test of what was going to keep me out.
A lot of what I've learned has come from the negative. I think I've learned more from 10 days of agony than I can from 10 years of contentment. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I consider myself the diamond in the rough. I've been formed from major pressures. From major pressures. I didn't crumble. I've been formed from major pressures, and I am committed in the things that I'm doing now because of those pressures.
Young fella next to him, what's your name, brother? Goldie. How you feel, Goldie?
I feel great.
Why you feel great, brother?
I'm here, blessed to be here.
Yes, sir. Getting closer to taking that exam?
Yeah, I'm getting close. I'm ready.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
And what exam is that for?
Electrician.
Electrician?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
That's a quarter.
How you get that opportunity, brother?
Right here, first, second call.
He's a force of nature. He can talk to a lot of people where they're at and get across to them with a credibility that you just don't get. You know, you don't just walk around with that kind of street credibility.
Many of those people that come through organizations like Second Call, but particularly Second Call, are compassionate, sharp, and have understandings of our community that a lot of people don't get. And they are wonderful members of Local 11, and they are productive members and employees of our contractors. And that's why we try to empower and help Second Call.
Now I'm in an organization that promotes brotherhood in a positive way. And I'm getting a viable trade that can help me throughout my life, you know, for the rest of my life, and help my kids and grandchildren. So for me, it's something that I've always felt like my life was lacking. I want to be a part of something that's strong and something powerful. I want to be considered a brother and have brothers around me, you know, and this gives me the best of all worlds.
I want to help my folks that I used to terrorize. How can I not have pride in being a union man?
If it was not for the continued support of Second Call throughout these years, I would not be sitting here today. If it wasn't for the Brotherhood, the IBEW, I would not be sitting here today. These two entities have afforded me a way to change my life, improve my life, and be able to provide for my family. That means the most to me. It's priceless.
Despite them being formerly incarcerated, those are my brothers, those are my sisters. They have my back, they support me, they're important to me, and I know I'm important to them as well. So it's humbling for me because despite them having 26 years, despite them, someone's down there 41 years and 32 years, if I need something, I can call on them.
My first year I was still not free.
Right.
I was in treatment.
Right.
But, so this is like my first year free.
Right.
And it
Beautiful.
gets scary. And I'm not there yet, but I'm trying really hard.
But here's the thing though, you done came down here. Now you're part of the wolfpack. So what happens is on that sheet right there, you can call any one of us. When it gets a little too scary, call one of us. And that's what we're here for. How do I make sure that I keep the essence of myself as a man and fighting for what I believe in my community, what I believe in for my family, and fighting with the intent to not only survive, but thrive, but don't have it based on somebody giving me nothing. My part is getting up and fighting every day.
Definitely. I really believe that if I fail in my journey, it's gonna close the doors in a lot of ways for other people. I feel if I succeed, then if my story, when people hear that here's an individual that went to prison, you know, got tangled up with the Mexican mafia, got tangled up with prison gangs, got tangled up with street gangs, you know, did 15 years in solitary confinement, did this, did that, got out and became a success. I think that what that does is that it motivates other individuals in my position, but it also reinforces those that help me along the way that are in power to go, we made a good choice.
The sentence that I had, I thought I was going to take my last breath in one of those gray 6x9 cells, and everybody peering in the window looking at me. You know, for me, being out here in society, free to be a part of my family, be a part of my community, and to be working and showing myself that I can work. I do have integrity, I do have discipline. For me, that's paramount. You know, traveling and all the other stuff, that's for other people. But for me, just being free and being alive is enough.